What about more serious sins that are an offense against God's holy things? Can they also be forgiven? Should we try to repair any damages we've done to God and others? Let's look at Leviticus 5. Is there a specific list of sins that make a person guilty of greater sin before God? Are false witness, carelessness about quarantine, and making hasty vows serious offenses against God? If a person sins in hearing the utterance of an oath and is a witness, whether he's seen or known of the matter, if he doesn't tell it, he bears guilt. Or if a person touches any unclean thing, whether it's the carcass of an unclean beast, or the carcass of unclean livestock, or the carcass of unclean creeping things, and he's unaware of it, he also shall be unclean and guilty. Or if he touches human uncleanness, whatever uncleanness with which a man may be defiled, and he's unaware of it, when he realizes it, then he shall be guilty. Or if a person swears, speaking thoughtlessly with his lips, to do evil or to do good, whatever it is that a man may pronounce by an oath, and he's unaware of it, when he realizes it, then he shall be guilty in any of these matters. Should that person confess their sin once they become aware of it? When you become aware of your guilt in any of these ways, you must confess your sin. Then you must bring to the Lord, as the penalty for your sin, a female from the flock, either a sheep or a goat. This is a sin offering with which the priest will purify you from your sin, making you right with the Lord. What if the person who has sinned is too poor to offer a lamb? If he can't afford a lamb, then he shall bring his trespass offering for that in which he sinned, 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons to Yahweh, one for a sin offering and the other for a burnt offering. He shall bring them to the priest, who shall first offer the one which is for the sin offering. He shall wring off its head and its neck, but shall not sever it completely. He shall sprinkle some of the blood of the sin offering on the side of the altar, and the rest of the blood shall be drained out at the base of the altar. It's a sin offering. He shall offer the second for a burnt offering, according to the ordinance, and the priest shall make atonement for him concerning his sin which he sinned, and he shall be forgiven. What if the person who sinned is too poor to afford a pair of birds? If you're so poor that you cannot afford doves or pigeons, you may bring 1 kilogram of your finest flour. This is a sacrifice to ask my forgiveness. So don't sprinkle olive oil or sweet-smelling incense on it. Give the flour to a priest, who will scoop up a handful and send it up in smoke together with the other offerings. This is a reminder that all the flour belongs to me. By offering this sacrifice, the priest pays the price for any of these sins you may have committed. The priest gets to keep the rest of the flour, just as he does with grain sacrifices. How much of a fine was added when the offense was against God's holy things? The Lord said to Moses, "Whenever you commit wrongdoing, unintentionally sinning against any of the Lord's holy things, you must bring to the Lord as your compensation a flawless ram from the flock, its value calculated in silver shekels, according to the sanctuary's shekel, as a compensation offering. You'll make amends for the way you've sinned against the holy thing. You'll add 1/5 to its value and give it to the priest. Then the priest will make reconciliation for you with the ram for the compensation offering, and you'll be forgiven." This is variously referred to as the compensation, trespass, reparation, or guilt offering. Does it include forgiveness? If someone sins, and without knowing it, violates any of the Lord's commands concerning anything prohibited, he bears the consequences of his guilt. He must bring an unblemished ram from the flock, according to your assessment of its value, as a restitution offering to the priest. Then the priest will make atonement on his behalf for the error he has committed unintentionally, and he'll be forgiven. It's a restitution offering. He's indeed guilty before the Lord. With his change of heart, did Zacchaeus also engage of acts of restitution? Did Jesus tell him not to bother because he didn't need to? Later, Zacchaeus stood up and announced to the Lord, "Look, I'm giving half of my possessions to the destitute, and if I've accused anyone falsely, I'm repaying him 4 times as much as I owe." Then Jesus told him, "Today salvation has come to this home, because this man is also a descendant of Abraham, and the Son of Man has come to seek and save the lost." What about more serious sins that are an offense against God's holy things? Can they also be forgiven? Should we try to repair any damages we've done to God and others? You decide.